Hey, I'm Alex with Marc's Mobility, and in this video we're going to show you a Permobil M3 with all 4 seat functions, so stay tuned. This chair here is a Permobil M3, which is a mid-wheel drive chair. This unit has 33 total miles of drive distance on it. So the nice part about these high-end chairs, they do have an odometer like a car that you cannot reset the distance. You can reset the trip, but you cannot set the overall total drive distance on the unit. So 33 total miles driven on the unit. You got to factor in people are going to go between a mile or half a mile to a mile or two a day. So this chair is still very, very minimally used. Now this particular unit has 5 electric seat functions. It's going to have a 12-inch vertical seat lift. It's going to have electric tilt, electric recline, and electric legs. And then it's going to have anterior tilt. So I'm going to go through those functions. I'm going to kind of show you what they mean and what they do and how they can assist the end user. So the first thing we'll show you is going to be a seat lift. That's going to be pretty straightforward. So that's just going to be the whole seat is like an elevator. It's going to raise up 12 inches. So you can do all these functions through the joystick, or this has what's called an ICS box behind the joystick with the 4 buttons on it. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. You have an up and down button. One, you press the forward, it's going to raise you up. Press the other white button, it's going to bring you back down. So what this function is going to be used for is multiple applications. 1, if you want to just be higher up in the air to be able to reach things. 2, if you need to slide transfer to be able to get over to a bed or to a commode or to a different thing with a different height, you do have that ability. Now you can stop at any height that you desire as well. So you don't have to go all the way up. Right now, currently to the top of the cushion to the ground on this current cushion is 34 inches. Now you could get a thicker or a lower profile cushion, so that might adjust a few inches, but if you actually measure to the pan, you're at about 30 inches to the pan. That's always going to be consistent. So do remember you're going to be about 18 inches to the pan when you're all the way down, depending on what size cushion, then that's going to vary basically how high this seat is. So what's on here is a Roho cushion that does suppress, but do remember from here to the ground, you are at about 34 inches. Now what other people can use too, if they are still able to stand, people are able to use this seat lift function. They can raise up, they can scoot to the front of the seat, lock their legs, and they can pivot and stand, whether they use a walker or a cane or something else to get in and out of the unit. So it does assist in getting in and out of not having to have your legs bent at a 90-degree angle. Same with getting back in the unit. You don't have to feel like you're falling down in the unit. You can kind of sit on the edge of the seat, begin to lower the seat, and then slide your way back into the unit. Now the unit still does drive at a reduced speed when it's elevated. I'll tell you when we go outside, I think full speed is about 6.5 miles an hour. I think it's about 3.5, somewhere in that range when the seat is elevated. But it will still drive when the seat is elevated. You will see a yellow icon light up once you get to a certain degree of height. That just means your seat is elevated, so you're going to be at a reduced speed. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring this seat lift back down. And then the next function that we will show you is going to be the posterior tilt, which is going to be a reverse tilt. Okay, so now that we're all the way down, we're going to go ahead and do the posterior tilt. We're going to hold back on the tilt button. So the tilt is going to be if you were sitting in a stationary chair and somebody was to come pull you backwards, like you feel you're tipping over backwards, that's basically what tilt is. Now, why tilt is very, very medically necessary is what it's doing is it's taking the pressure off your lower half and it's applying it to your back. So it creates extra blood flow through the bottom of your legs, which is going to help alleviate pressure sores, and help somebody to be able to kind of reposition a little bit better in the body, in their body position, depending on what kind of diagnosis that they have. But this is what the electric tilt would look like. You are tilted back. Like I said, take the pressure off your bottom half. It's going to apply it mostly to your back. Now while you're in the tilt position, I'm going to show you the electric legs. You can do electric legs while you're in the recline position, while you're in the tilt position, or you can do it individually. But what this is going to do is this is going to be able to get your feet above your heart. So if you're tilted back and you need to get that circulation, when they talk about getting your feet above your heart, you are able to do this while you are in that tilt position. Now the legs do slide if you don't have any resistance in there. So if your feet are not in here, they are going to slide and drop down like what you just saw. But they would typically be out in a position like this if somebody was actually sitting in the unit. Now the thing I will mention about Permobil units is almost everything on these units is customizable to the end user. So when you are looking from a unit from Marc's Mobility, do know that whether it's the seat size, the leg length, the calf pads, the armrest, the back, I mean, there's so many different customizations you can do on these chairs. It's not a one size fits all. So if you see this unit, you're like, I love what it does, but it doesn't quite seem like it's sized up for me. Do remember, it has a 300-pound weight capacity when it has a seat lift. If it did not have the seat lift, it's gonna have a 330-pound capacity. So it's gonna fit a wide range of people. We can go up to 23 inches in wide in seat, up to 22 inches in depth, and then we can get as narrow as about 15 by 15. So like I said, we can really fit this to almost anybody's size that's out there. So don't hesitate to call if you do like the unit, but it doesn't seem like it's exactly gonna fit your size. The next function I'm gonna show you is gonna be recline. So recline is gonna be more for comfort. Recline is just like what it sounds like. It's where the back is gonna go back. I have the legs already still up in the up position, so you'll see it's pretty much a lay flat. It's gonna be almost 180-degree flat angle when you're laying on this unit. So people do use these to sleep in. So I'm gonna get it all the way back, and then I'll get out of the way so you can kind of see what it looks like. But this is what your recline is gonna look like. Like I said, it's pretty much 180-degree lay flat for people to sleep in. I have had some people, if they do have aids, to try to transfer people out of the units. They can flip the arms up, kind of get the patient in and out from a tilt or recline position. So I have heard that being used in some facilities as well. But now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring the legs down. I'm gonna bring the back up. Through the ICS box, you can control two functions at one point. So I'm gonna bring the recline up and bring the legs back into a normal seated position. And like I said, on these buttons here, if you see yellow, it means you're in a position that's going to reduce your speed. If you see the buttons go from green to red, it means you're in a position that is a non-safe driving position. So when you do have red buttons on your ICS box, the chair will not move. So that is a safety thing. Do think about that. If you do see a red button on there, get your chair more to an upright seated position like so, and then the chair will drive. So now the next thing I'm going to show you is going to be the anterior tilt. An anterior tilt is going to be a forward tilting motion that will also assist getting somebody in and out of the unit. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold the tilt button forward, and you're going to see the unit begin to lift up and tilt forward to some degree. Now there are different degrees of anterior tilt. This is the pretty standard, probably 15-degree anterior tilt, but you can see how now the seat is at a downwards angle, so it's going to help assist with gravity to get somebody forward and out of the unit. So those are the four functions that this particular chair has. Now we're going to go over some other features of this particular unit. So the unit does have a headrest that's fully adjustable. There's all different Allen wrench points in here so that you can tilt the angle, the pitch of it. You can really customize this to fit the person's body. This particular headrest here has a couple screws back here that you can actually contour this headrest and kind of cup the person's back of their head. So some headrests are more flat. This one would actually cuff their head. That would kind of, if somebody has head control issues, this would be a great unit to look at because this headrest will kind of contour around their head. This unit that not all units have is elbow stops. So basically if somebody's sitting in the unit, they go to recline back, their arm's not going to slide back off the back of the armrest. That's what these are for. They are removable, but this is a nice extra feature on this particular unit here. The joystick has a swing away joystick, which means you can push the joystick to the inside or the outside of the arm. Most commonly it's going to be swung to the outside of the arm, but what the swing away joystick is used for is that you can pull all the way up to a table. It's going to help you to get all the way up close to an object, and or if you get out of the unit and you like to push off the end of the armrest, well, you got to imagine if your joystick's here and you're trying to find the end of the armrest, it's a little bit harder to do without trying to push on the joystick. When it's swung to the side, there's no obstruction in the front, and that's going to help you get in and out of the unit. Now the joystick can be put on the right or the left-hand side, so if you are left-handed, let us know when you want to purchase a unit, and we can put that joystick on the left-hand side as well. Now let's go over the overall unit itself. It is a mid-wheel drive unit. It's got big, large 14-inch solid drive wheels in the middle, and it's got about 7 inch, I think they're going to call these sevens, yeah, about 7-inch caster wheels in the front and the rear of the unit. Now it is a mid-wheel drive, so that means it's going to turn basically right here on the middle of the chair. So mid-wheel drive chair is going to be the best type of drive configuration for somebody that's going to be using this inside the home primarily or outside on primarily hardtop surfaces. Mid-wheel drive is going to be the unit for you. Do remember they do make a front-wheel driven unit as well, so call us if you're only going to be using a unit primarily outside. They do make this same type of chair called an F3, which would be a better alternative driving configuration than the mid-wheel drive. But for inside, smaller turning radius, this is as good as it's going to get. You are going to be about 43 inches in overall length, so do remember you're going to need about 43 to 44 inches in overall length to turn into a circle. Overall width on this unit. Now this can depend on what size back you go with. I think this back right now is an 18-inch back. If you went with a 20-inch back, obviously your back's going to be wider. It's going to push your arms out farther. This current configuration, you're at about a little under 26 inches in overall width. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this unit forward so that we can show you what this unit would look like with the current seat size on it. So this current seat size on this unit is going to be a 17 by a 17. So this was probably configured for somebody 5'9", 160, 170 pounds. Do remember, this cushion comes off. We can adjust this up to 23 inches in width. They have plenty of configurations that we can do. We can change the back, the height, the width, lots of things that we can do. So don't let that scare you if that exact size does not fit you. But with this configuration, it's just a little bit under 26 inches wide. The wheelbase is about 24.5 inches wide. Now this unit does have headlights, tail lights, and turn signals. So you will see the bright lights. You will see if I put the hazards on, turn signals. It's a really fantastic unit that's going to be very visible, that you're able to drive this at night. It's not like a little cheap scooter with a little light that's not visible. This is going to light up your path. You will be seen driving down this. So if you are trying to think things out in the evenings, if you go down sidewalks or around your neighborhood, put your headlights on. Sometimes people get confused. They think all units come with a headlight because the button might show a picture. If this configuration, if you don't see this type of headlight up top, your unit does not have a headlight on the unit. Now, people always ask us, how do I put this chair in neutral? How do I push it around? This big cylinder that you see up here in the front, this is your motor. This is actually your brake assembly in the front. If you were to push this little knob inwards on both sides, it disengages the motor, and then you're able to push the chair around. Now, do remember when your chair is on, it's going to have a lot more resistance, so do turn your power off when you want to push the unit around. Do make sure you always have this lever pushed back to the side in the lock position. If your chair's on, you got to turn it off and turn it back on to reset it. But that is how you put your chair in freewheel. The unit does come standard with 4 tie-down points. So whether you're buying a really nice lift for the back of your vehicle or you have public transportation, there's 2 tie-down points on either side. There's fantastic suspension on this unit over here that is adjustable depending on where you're going and what kind of objects you have to climb over. This particular unit and all units have, not all, but most all have individual foot plates that do flip up. That sound just needs to be a little bit cleaned, and then that doesn't make that sound if we were to grease these up here a little bit. We can put bigger calf pads on these units if needed. And like I said, we can really change everything else on this unit as well. So just a quick recap, this unit's got 33 miles of total drive distance. It's got 5 electric seat functions, the seat lift, the tilt, the recline, the electric tilt, anterior and posterior tilt. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this unit outside. And one more thing that I just saw over here too, this actually has a USB port underneath here as well. So if you want to charge your phone or your tablet, you can plug that right into that unit and it will actually charge right off the electronics or off the batteries on this particular unit. So let's go ahead, follow us outside. We're going to take this for a little drive. This is the Permobil M3. This is the unit here that we talked about that had 15 miles total drive distance. You can see it's a mid-wheel drive configuration. I'm 6 foot tall, 220 pounds. It's not exactly fitted to my size with the headrest, but it can be fitted to anybody's size under 300 pounds. So you can see this is what you would need to turn into a circle. It does not need a lot of space. It is going to have the seat lift, the tilt, the recline, and the electric legs. I'm going to go ahead and drive it through the grass, kind of showing you that it can go in that surface. Then I'm going to bring it back over here and raise the seat lift up and show you what the top end speed would be. Now I can tell you it's about 6.5 miles an hour when the seat is in the down position. So go ahead, I'm gonna go over here and go take it for a ride. Do you remember when you're going off-road that your foot plates are gonna be high enough up? You do wanna make sure that when you come over an object, you're not gonna jar those into the ground. But I can tell you power-wise, this is a very powerful unit. So if you have hard-top grass like this, hard-top surface, as long as it's not a sandy bottom, you'd be perfectly fine to be able to navigate this unit in those types of terrain. So I'm just going down slow here. I would recommend maybe kicking your feet out when you come over to a little embankment like that. I'm gonna go ahead and raise the seat lift up now, and I'm gonna see what it drives at the full elevated position. Do you remember you're about 34 inches top of the seat to the ground when you're all the way elevated? This particular unit does have the full light package on it as well, and it is a super, super comfortable unit. There's really, when you drive one of these units, it's really amazing the quality that they put into one of these chairs. But right now I'm gonna see what this is gonna go. Top end speed looks like we're topping at about 3.2 to 3.3 miles an hour. But you can see it's plenty stable. I mean, even if I'm rocking the chair, shaking the chair, while in the full elevated position, it is not going to tip over on you. So this is what it would look like, the Permobil M3 with the 4 functions. If you have any questions, give us a call.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And my name is Alex. We're co-owners of Marc's Mobility.
I started this company in 1995.
We sell many products, not just what you see in this video. If you have any questions or concerns, please call us at the number below at 800-677-6293. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.